Alright guys, so this will be a review of the WSI Mercedes-Benz Titan with the Note Boom NZG11200 transporter. The model right now in 2013 is almost impossible to find, and if you do find one, be prepared to pay over $300 for it. Unfortunately for this review, I do not have a 11200 boom to showcase on it, and I wish that I did, but I'm going to make the review anyway, so hopefully you enjoy it. Alright, so I'm going to start off with the tractor. The tractor is a Mercedes-Benz Titan, and it's a twin steer, which is really cool, meaning the two front axles, if you want to call them, do steer. So to show that, here they are. They don't steer a whole lot, as you could see. They turn very limited, but still the fact that it is a twin steer and that they do turn is very cool. If you look at the front, you can make out all the warning, caution tape, I guess you could call it. I don't know if that's the correct term, since this is a truck used outside of the United States, but you could still make it out, and you could also make out that it does have a hitch that you could pin stuff to right there. You could also see the Mercedes-Benz logo and the emblem, and you can see it is very nicely decaled, as you can see, specialized trailer, and it is a V8. You could kind of make out into the cab. You really can't see too much, honestly, but still cool that you could kind of make out that there's a steering wheel and some seats in there. If you turn to the side, you could see the tire and the rim better. Cool thing about the tires is that they're not extremely glossy, so that gives it a very realistic look. You could see over here the steps to get into it, and the window over here, and the mirrors. The odd thing about it is that these mirrors are actually pretty big. Doesn't take away from the model, especially with its rarity, but it would have been nice to see some smaller mirrors and for them to be metal. If we look on top of the cab, you can see the warning, or the beacons and the horns, and it looks like and a closed sunroof. Coming to the other side of the truck, you could see more of the decals and more mirrors and whatnot, an air intake, and the cab does tilt forward. It's just at a point where it won't stay tilted, but I guess that's just the way it is. There is some engine detail, but you could see, I mean, it just shows kind of the block in the head. It's really not much, to be honest with you. And there's the rest of it under there. And this one goes down like that. I will be completely honest with you, I don't exactly know what this is for right here, but I'm assuming it has to do for the power for the back end, which is the business end, which I will show you. But over here, there are simulated wheel chocks, as you can see right there, and there are lines right here, which is also really cool, and there's a bunch of lighting up there and whatnot. Coming to the back, the fenders are plastic, which I didn't think they would be, but they are, and there is a fifth wheel right here, but this is where the boom will actually mount onto, and you can see that it does have full movement, and the way that you take it off is you just pull it right out, and it does come off like that, so you could display the tractor with a different trailer. Back over here also has a pin-on hitch, and if we look at mud flaps, you can see it says Mercedes-Benz and Note Boom, or Note Boom. I don't know the exact way to pronounce it, but still really cool about that. Now I will show you the trailer, which is pretty cool, and I really like it. So the way you can make out the trailer, which way it's supposed to go, and this is pretty obvious, but I figured that I would point it out, is the mud flaps. If you don't get it, if you get it and you don't know how to put it, you know, just put the mud flaps facing in the back. The entire trailer itself is a pretty cool model, and it's engineered very well. If you push down on it, you can see that there is suspension, very limited, but I'm assuming when you put that very heavy NZG boom on it, it will definitely show, and I'm sure that these tires will sink into the fenders that are on them. Looking at it, not even going into it much, you could see that it is very detailed and it looks very complex. I really like that look. Anyway, zooming in on it, every single tire is identical to the next. So they all have the silver rim with the anti-gloss tire, and they're all the same. And the fenders and the mud flaps, which say Note Boom or Notate Boom, I'm just going to call it Note Boom, are identical. So all, I believe there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 axles on the back, all identical. They all have the air tanks, as you could see, which I'm assuming it's for the braking on the trailer. And the very cool thing about it is that it is actually built. It's built very, very nice. You could see when you go to turn, and the razor like that. I'll just zoom out. They all turn with themselves, and that's the work of the tie rods right there. So that is really nice, and it just works very smooth and very fluidly. Now here's the main part of it. This is where you rest your boom for your crane onto, and there is no like bar between the truck and the trailer. The boom actually links the two together. So you would rest it on here, and you would pin it together. The way that it turns is with these cylinders right there. It is just very, very nice and very well made. In my personal opinion, the trailer is 100 times nicer than the tractor. The tractor looks like there's a lot of plastic on it, and realistically there is. But still, nonetheless, it's very nice. And if we look at the back, you could see more detailing. Alright, so to sum up the review, model is extremely rare. Be ready to pay a lot if you find one. That's if you even could find one. Trailer, I personally think, is a lot nicer than the tractor. I think that these plastic fenders really distract the overall look of the tractor. But nonetheless, super nice model. It's really killing me that I don't have a boom to show it on display. And if you have an 11200 and you break it down a lot and show it in transport, this is definitely a must-have. I realize that it is something that isn't really used in the United States, or at least this certain type, but it would still be very cool to have, and it is a very rare item amongst collectors. If you have one, you're very lucky. So I hope you enjoyed this review, and take care.